Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait What We Talk About podcast, episode 173. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and today we're flying solo to talk some fun topics with you guys. If you guys want to catch the podcast live, you can always go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011. Drop a follow there, and you'll be notified when we go live with the podcast or stream. Check it out over there. Join the conversation. Join in on all the chaos. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, anyway, you can support, like, shares, reviews, all that fun stuff. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow, helps us out. So if you have the time and you could do that, we would appreciate you for it. So, whip, 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 emergency podcast. Mortal Kombat 1 release trailer today as of recording Thursday, May 18th. Why am I time stamping this? I don't know. Also, why am I dancing around like an idiot? I'm so excited, like a lot of people are, about this reveal, about this trailer, about just everything that the realm does. We've been wondering when we were going to hear more about Mortal Kombat. The NetherRealm team has been, hush hush as they usually are. Ed Boon's always trolling on Twitter with tweets and teases and all that fun stuff. Just, humoring us fans or communicating that way. But yeah, they haven't really announced what they were doing for a project. There was a lot of rumors for a while and speculation, like when is MK12 going to be revealed or released? Are they going to be doing an Injustice 3, which I think we might have even talked about on this podcast a while back? And what's their next project? Is it even something new? And we finally got our answer, kind of started to tease it, I think it was last week, with some more tweets of a clock ticking down, heading to the 12 o'clock hour. Teaser Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday showed that clock stopping at 1 and saying it is time, or something is time is now, not John Cena. It is time. We get the official reveal bright and early this morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and it is revealed that it is Mortal Kombat 1. So we're getting a reboot, we're getting a rehash, we're getting a retelling of the story of Mortal Kombat and those characters in that universe, which we kind of expected, just based on how the Mortal Kombat story and series has gone over the past few iterations. But now, obviously, we have our confirmation and the reveal of the 1 compared to 12. So I just wanted to talk about the trailer, talk about my thoughts and feelings of the story and where we're going and what's included, what's not included, all that fun stuff. So if for any reason you don't want to be spoiled about Mortal Kombat 1 or the most recent stories of Mortal Kombat 9 through 11, maybe this is your time to step out. Come back later when you're all caught up. Just a fair warning. It's been 4 years since Mortal Kombat 11, and then 8 since, oh God, MKX. I don't even want to know how many since MK9. So, that's on you. But no, if you don't want to be spoiled, now's your time. But we're going to be talking anything and everything. So just a fair heads up there. So let's talk about the trailer to start. So what did they show off? In this trailer, it is simply just an announcement of what the game is, its official release date, its title, stuff like that. We did not see any gameplay in this trailer. This is a pure CG trailer, which kind of fits the pattern for NetherRealm and the reveals. We got the same thing with MKX with the forest fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero. MK11, we had, once again, the same two people fighting at Shang Tsung's temple until the initial reveal of the past Scorpion fighting current Scorpion. Oh, I'm sorry, Raiden and Scorpion fought, not Sub-Zero. But we got the CG trailer there as well. So the tradition continues here, where is the big fancy CG cinematic trailer that we see with this release. As always, looks graphically great, but once again, take it with a grain of salt because it is not the gameplay trailer. Not to say the gameplay won't look fantastic. You can look from even the jump of Mortal Kombat X to Injustice 2, and I don't know if it was an engine change or what they did, but graphically leaps and bounds of progress between those two games. So I'm interested to see how things change stylistically and visually from an MK11 to an MK12, and also being next-gen hardware officially, and no past-gen releases. So they're fully dedicated to the next-gen, so we'll have to see how things look moving forward. Exactly, Genghis. Mortal Kombat! So we'll have to see graphically how it changes from 11 to now 1 being next-gen from there. So all cinematic here. We got to look at some of the characters. We got Liu Kang. Apparently Raiden was there. Didn't pick up on that initially. Did I say Liu Kang? I did say Liu Kang. Kung Lao, Katana, Melina, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and then Shang Tsung were all revealed there to be in the game. If you go to the Mortal Kombat specific website, they also do confirm that Johnny Cage will be making a return. So interesting there. Not a big surprise, but we didn't see him in the trailer. Other than that, trailer just shows kind of some matchups a little bit between some characters you kind of expect. We get the release date of September 19th of 2023, so very excited for that. And we also get a little bit of a look at some fatalities. Now, once again, being the CG trailer, things could change. However, I think these could translate over to the games, or the gameplay rather, and these could be at least how some of the fatalities, or if they're still doing brutalities and x-rays, how some of these could look. I could definitely see the last shot of Liu Kang beating up Shang Tsung and doing the double dragon kind of move. I could definitely see that being a fatality, as I feel they did the same thing in the MK11 reveal trailer with the spin hook kick spear through the head via Scorpion. So most likely that one will transfer over, but nothing from a fight to fight standpoint. It was just quick cuts between these brutal moments of people getting murdered, and showing the fatalities off there. So we saw that. So once again, September release. Numerous editions have been announced. So you have your standard, your premium edition, and your collector's edition. Wide variety of stuff available depending on which version you picked. Like I said, it will be available for next-gen consoles, so PS5, Xbox Series, both X and S, Nintendo Switch, and PC. NetherRealm is going to be developing they technically developed all of them, but there are going to be other teams working on the Nintendo Switch and PC ports, so hopefully those specialized teams will be able to make the magic work there. If you happen to get the premium edition, you do get some extra stuff with that, so it's kind of like most games. You buy your game and then you buy the season pass essentially along with it. So get the standard edition content, so your game, along with the combat pack, so your first group of downloadable characters. Early access to the game beginning September 14th, some in-game currency. The combat pack will feature a Johnny Cage character skin and likeness of famed actor and martial artist Jean-Claude Van Damme, available at launch. Early access to 6 new playable characters available post-launch, and 5 new cameo characters. Yes, they spelled cameo with a K because it's Mortal Kombat. If you get the collector's edition, you get all that fancy stuff too, along with a 16.5-inch Liu Kang sculpture, another in-game skin, 3 exclusive art prints, a steel case, and additional in-game currencies. So some nice packages. I will say that collector's edition, woo-hoo, very pricey, but I get it. You're buying a sculpture. So great. We already have DLC confirmed. I know that's a mixed topic that we could discuss another day of like, oh, you already have post-game content planned. You haven't even announced the roster already. Yada, yada. I get it. It's the same thing with every fighting game. There's more characters after. I just appreciate that they're, got some kind of game plan roadmap for post-launch. Whatever. Take it as is. Now, the thing that first got me excited, at least in terms of reading this part, was 5 new cameo fighters. Now me, being at work and reading things quickly, cameo. What is a cameo? Well, it's that social media you pay celebrities for to do stupid shout-outs. No, it's like guest appearances, right? So I was like, oh shit, 5 guest characters. They're already confirming that. Not the case. If you scroll a little farther on their website, cameo fighters. What are cameo fighters and how will they work in Mortal Kombat 1? Cameo fighters are a unique roster of partner characters to assist during matches, creating extended gameplay possibilities for players. These characters are chosen separately from the main roster fighters. So it is a assist character mechanic. Now, we've kind of seen something like this, I want to say since MKX. We saw it in MKX, Injustice 2 had it, and MK11 had it with their tower battles. You could do a separate button input depending on the tower if you had an assist in that tower, and it would do a cross-screen attack that you could use to either create an opening for yourself, or if you were getting your ass whooped and you need to get a break, you could do that exactly like the Baraicho stuff. You could do that. It could help you out. So similar to the modifiers, except the modifiers would affect your health, the stage, certain arena traps, stuff like that. I don't know if it will be a one-to-one exactly that, or if this will be similar to early Marvel vs. Capcoms or Dragon Ball Fighters or Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, where you have a team of characters that, technically you would swap in. We're not getting that, where it's 2v2 or 3v3, but you could have those characters come in, do a quick attack to extend your combo or whatever, and then they would dart off screen. I wonder if it's going to be something like that. They had this tag team mechanic back in MK9, so I could see it being that. It's just a matter of, does it work on next gen, graphically, all that fun stuff. So we'll have to see. Just something to, I guess, note about these cameo characters. It is not the guest characters like I thought. It is this kind of assist mechanic. So interesting that they'll be adding post content to also that roster of assist characters. I'm sure there will be guest characters. I mean, just like the normal games rumors and all that stuff. I think there's been rumors of Homelander and, oh crap, there was one other one that I'm blanking on. But we'll just have to see. Obviously, WB being owners here, Peacemaker. Thank you. Yeah, John Cena's... Oh, shit, it ties in. The time is now. John Cena is going to be in this game. So, yeah, it depends. Obviously, WB, Warner Brothers, owns NetherRealm, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see who they weave into this. I wonder if WWE would have an issue with that. That I don't know. I don't even know if they could say anything. Anyways, so we'll have to see who those guest characters end up being. So interesting stuff there. Seems like we're really focused on the story here. Sure. Rollback netcode still being supported for online gameplay. So if you're in the FGC and you know what that is, that's a great thing for connectivity. Yeah. So let's talk about story stuff. So when we left off at Mortal Kombat 11, we kind of knew and got a hint that things are going to be reset. We had this whole timeline grandiose fight in MK11 where we got the past meeting the present, and you got different versions of different characters, and we're dealing with Chronica and her time crown hourglass bullshit, and we are trying to save the day there. Good guys prevail, heyo, and through the power of Hocus Pocus, I don't remember all specifics because this was years ago, Liu Kang is now an Elder God. So he has the powers, I believe, of some fire guy and Raiden. So he's got electricity and fire. Raiden is now mortal, and depending on your ending in Aftermath, Liu Kang is now in charge of the hourglass, and he's dealing with stuff there. Now, before we get into the real twists and turns of this stuff, neat, cool. We figured there would be a reset. Just because of, the time mechanics there. We got the little tease of him going to see Kung Lao at the end of the game and talking with him and being kind of similar to how Raiden was a mentor for Liu Kang. He would be the mentor, elder god to Kung Lao, and we would go from there with the story. It's going to be interesting to see how the cast we know of characters, what's going to be different about them, what's going to change, because seemingly we're starting from the very, very beginning. So that means, we see Melina here, so we know there has to be, we would assume, some Shao Kahn kind of tie-in with the experimentation, and we see briefly her teeth before she covers them up. So we know that process and cloning process is still be going on. Jax's arms are still fine. Ermac hasn't blown them up yet, so he hasn't gotten the metal arms. The whole cyber initiative is not a thing, so we won't see Cyrax, Sector, Shadow, and Smoke, at least in their robot forms. They'll presumably still be human. The second generation characters that they added in, like Cassie Cage and Jackie Briggs and Takeda and the other guy. It's been a while. They're not in it as far as we know. So it's going to be interesting to see Kung Jin. Thank you. It's going to be interesting to see how the regular cast, the initial cast, what is going to change in their stories, how it's going to change, who's going to be involved from there. So we'll have to see that. Now, if we want to start throwing a wrench into this and we want to talk about continuity, now granted, this is video game world, continuity, could be scrapped by the wayside, doesn't even matter. But smart me, I was like, I haven't played this story in a little while. Let's look up the plot real quick, remind myself what the fuck happened here, okay? So, MK11 launched in April of 2019. Had a great story, a lot of fun. You go through it. Liu Kang defeats Kronika, and once again is imbued with the powers of an Elder God, and then him and Raiden Mortal are going to work together to kind of figure out this whole time comeuppance, right? A few months later, they release Aftermath, which is like additional story, where you play as characters from the initial Combat Pack DLC. So your Shang Tsung, which was your pre-order. No, he wasn't your pre-order. Shao Kahn was your pre-order, excuse me. Shang Tsung you can play as, Fujin you can play as, Nightwolf, and Sindel. Okay, you might have been able to play as more. Maybe you did get to play as Shao Kahn. Don't remember. But anyways, you play as these characters, and you're going to get the Crown of Kronika, which controls the Hourglass, because it got broken in the fight. Liu Kang can't control it without the crown. Okay, great. So we got this weird fusion of evil characters, good characters, working together for the greater good to do this thing. Okay. They go back in time before the crown's broken, fight people, get the crown. Shang Tsung turns out to be a dirtbag. Wow, who would have thought? He double crosses the people he's working on. Then you have big epic showdown between Liu Kang and Shang Tsung for the fate of humanity and the crown. Okay, great. Everybody caught up? Okay, cool. Now, here you get the player choice. One's obviously the canon ending, one's not the canon ending. You could choose good side, you could choose bad side, you win the fight, you get your ending. Good side is the canon ending. Wow, who would have thought? So you fight as Liu Kang, you beat up Shang Tsung, right? Now we get into the tricky part of continuity. Via Wikipedia. So let's take everything with a grain of salt, but I do remember this. In the canon ending, quotations here, if Liu Kang wins, he erases Shang Tsung from existence and recovers the Crown of Souls. with which he gains control over the hourglass. Once he forges his new era, Liu Kang visits the Shaolin Temple so he can train Kung Lao's ancestor, the Great Kung Lao, to become his champion in Mortal Kombat. Okie dokie. Everybody hear that? Now, when I read this initially, Shang Tsung just Control-Alt-Deleted from the whole storyline of Mortal Kombat, right? He never existed. Now, maybe I'm reading that wrong. Could it just be because we see Shang Tsung in this CG trailer, and he's presumably the big bad, or he's causing chaos? Is it just the current Shang Tsung that was a dick hole and did the crown thing that he got Control-Deleted? I read it initially as like, never, never existed. If that's the case, how is he here coming through a dark portal? Are we going to get more timeline bullshit in MK12 that we maybe don't need? I don't know. If it's just that one got deleted, fine. Why would Liu Kang, in charge of the hourglass, allow Shang Tsung or create Shang Tsung in his timeline universe? I don't know. That's weird. But who knows? Genghis from chat says, I think Shang Tsung put his soul into the crown to fuck with everything. That's certainly possible. Him and his soul magic. So yeah, something to figure out there. In terms of the Kung Lao situation, if we're going off of this, he's visiting the ancestor, the Great Kung Lao, to become the champion of Mortal Kombat. So we're not going, based on the cinematic trailer, we're not going to that far back. We're going like middle area, unless they're going to be like, oh yeah, by the way, I helped your ancestor and he fought Goro. I don't know the timeline. He fought Goro and we did this thing and I'm a cool guy like Raiden was. Hey, what up? I don't know. We'll have to see. So just another little thing to say. Jeff in chat, isn't Shang Tsung a pre-order only character in the new one? Could be a non-canon inclusion thing. So that's a good point. Is Shang Tsung canon or not? Yes, he is canon. We see him in the trailer. They're setting him up as the villain. The reason I'm going to say this with my chest gusto confidence that he is canon, they did the same thing with Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat 11. You got Shao Kahn if you pre-ordered Mortal Kombat 11 at launch. He was available as DLC afterwards. I don't know if it was part of the Combat Pack 1 or if it was separate, but he was a big part in Mortal Kombat 11's story initially. So, he's there. Yeah, I don't think it will be an unlock. I think that is just strictly DLC. Because was he an unlock? Once again, it's been 4 years. Yeah, I think it was DLC. I think DLC. So this is just a way for you to, once again, get him early if you decide to go the pre-order route. And I believe that's regardless of edition. Pretty sure. Yeah, that would add up. So, we got that. So yeah, very intrigued to see where the story goes. Excited to play more Mortal Kombat. Once again, we didn't get any gameplay, so that's a little bit bummer. When are we going to see gameplay? Now we get the whole rigmarole of like, okay, now we got to be here and speculate. We do have the PlayStation Showcase literally, as of recording, 6 days away. It's a Wednesday, next Wednesday. PlayStation Showcase. Could we see gameplay as early as then? Potentially. Or is it going to be Summer Games Fest with Jeff Healy? It's got to be one or the other. Because there's like, I doubt Gamescom is going to get it. I don't know when Tokyo Game Show is, but I don't think they would get it. I'm really hoping for next week as well. If it is next week, I'm intrigued to know why they decided to reveal it on their own and not wait till that. It could be a matter of stepping on toes, like if we get more Spider-Man 2 footage or whatever other crazy shit PlayStation has in their back pocket to reveal, like they get lost in the shuffle of discussion. If that's the case, fair. Good on you. You pulled the trigger and be like, hey, here we are. And then, oh yeah, we'll also show this cool stuff next week. Maybe that's the case. Thinking back to when they revealed the other stuff, when they revealed MK11, that was Game Awards. He came out to do the I remember jumping out of my seat. He came out to do the Racing and Sports Sim Award. The Scorpion Spear came through the screen. We got the reveal there with the rap song. And then eventually did the award after. But that was the CG trailer. And then the game trailer was released in April, where we also got revealed about a media event where we got the Fatality trailer and potentially the release date as well on there. No, I think the release date was before that. So he has some connections with Jeff a little bit. I don't know if that would tie to Summer Games Fest. But one of the two. We gotta have something, especially if this is coming out in September, which thank you, NetherRealm, for doing this. I know it sucks. You keep us on the line for all these years. We hear nothing, but I can't say how much I appreciate trailer. Release date is like 6 months. Like, it's not like, here's Mortal Kombat, and then like a either nothing or a flash of 2025. Like something far down the line of like, fuck. You know, I really appreciate that. I know games get excited. I know we get excited of like, oh my God, look at this shiny thing. But this is perfect. Announce, release. Announce, release. Don't give me 8 years down the line. We don't need that. We don't need that. Remember when we were all excited about Elder Scrolls 6 because they showed us clouds in the sky? Yeah, what's going on with that game? I don't know. But anyways, very excited for that. I think I mentioned it earlier before, but maybe I didn't. If you do pre-order premium, you do get the game 5 days early. Also, with these, there isn't a beta. Players who pre-order the game on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series will receive Mortal Kombat 1 beta, which is available in August. So you get that. If it's anything like Mortal Kombat 11's beta, good times all around. So, I don't know where I was going with this train of thought. Characters. Let's talk about characters. So, we talked about the ones who were confirmed. Let's talk about the ones who aren't confirmed. Who do we think is making this game? Who are the characters? Well, Genghis is right on top of it. Who are the characters you definitely want to see? So, selfishly, I loved Melina in MKX. She was one of my go-tos. I have not played her in MK11 because that was the train of thought I was going on. So don't worry, we'll get back to characters, but I'm going to revert back to this for a second. We didn't see gameplay in this trailer. We need to see gameplay soon. And not that I don't think the gameplay will look beautiful, the gameplay needs to be fun. Mortal Kombat X, MKX, gameplay in that was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. It was my first Mortal Kombat, jumped back to 9, and then was kind of on the NetherRealm train from there. Injustice 1, not great gameplay. MKX was a lot of fun. Injustice 2, I know some people didn't like it because there was a lot of range stuff. Personally, loved it. Loved Injustice 2. Absolutely had a great time with it. A lot of different characters that I loved playing as. I thought the DLC was fantastic. Shout out to the Ninja Turtles. Injustice 2, fantastic. We got to MK11, and NetherRealm shines in their stories. There is never going to be a debate about that, at least for recent updates or recent games. They've crushed it in their past games. Story is fantastic. Something about the gameplay for MK11 did not click. I don't know what it was exactly. Once again, it's been a few years since I've played the games, but something there was a disconnect. Injustice 2 had great tower modes where The modifiers kept it interesting. The gear kept it interesting, and the different stuff you can unlock there. And when I tried that mode in MK11, it felt more punishing, and not in like, oh, haha, it's difficult, of annoyance than the previous games. I remember at launch there was a tower. I think you were against Shao Kahn. I could be wrong. But every once in a while, the modifier that was active, the screen would go dark, and you would have to fight in pitch black for like a few seconds, almost like the screen would fade out, pause for a few seconds, come back, pause for a few seconds, go dark, like doing this thing. And it was so fucking annoying because it was one of these towers that didn't rotate out. It was like a set tower, and you couldn't progress to other options until you beat this tower. So annoying. So something about it just didn't feel as fun as an Injustice 2, as an MKX, in terms of my opinion for how it played, and it didn't make it appealing to keep playing, over and over again. I will say the cast of characters in MK11, I think were great. I think they had a great roster. MKX had a good roster, and Injustice 2 had a great roster. Like, roster-wise, I was very happy with everything that they did have. We've bitched about it before, ages ago, probably at this point, on the podcast too, in terms of cosmetics. Injustice 2's cosmetics were fantastic. You can unlock color schemes, you can unlock different gear for your superheroes, really customize them, make them look the way you want to look. If you want to play with the gear statistics on or buffs, you can totally negate those and just do it purely from a cosmetic standpoint. They added this in MK11. I think it was a cool addition to MK11 until you got to certain character aspects where customizations were absolutely useless. What I mean by this is if I am unlocking cosmetics for my characters, regardless of any game, personally, one, I want to see it. So first-person games where you have cosmetics, to me, make zero sense. I get it. You want to show off to everybody else. But I want to see these cosmetics. And I feel like a lot of MK11's cosmetics that you could customize for your characters from 3 options, I believe, were like non-applicable. So like it would be this little tiny vial on your hip. You can change how that looks. I'm sorry. In a fight, how often am I going to see this little vial on Scarlett's hip? Ever. And it was just the cosmetics. While I appreciate because it's a fun idea to give the players the customization, it just was pointless. Masks will always be cool for masked characters. So like Scorpion had a lot of good options. Jade had good options. Those characters had options, but just certain characters they had nothing, and it just didn't make it interesting or appealing to play either with those characters or at all, because there just wasn't a lot of cool stuff. So if they do decide to bring that back, I feel like there's got to be more, what's the term? Apparent changes? I don't know if that's the right terminology. Clear changes to your characters, where I feel like Injustice 2 shined with that. Prominence, thank you very much. I feel like there needs to be more of that if they choose to continue that route in MK1. Something that MK11 did that I hope they continue, and it's not necessarily, I would say, a gameplay part from in terms of the fighting, the 1-to-1 or 1-on-1, is the crypt. Crypt is a really cool thing, and MK11 was just a love letter to Mortal Kombat fans who have been around forever, whether it's the movie franchise or the game franchise. The crypt in MK11 blows MKX's out of the water. So good. going to Shang Tsung's island, doing the puzzles, discovering different things, getting the treasures and the lockables that way. Just chef's kiss, that presentation that they did in MK11. I don't know what they can do in MK1, because obviously there's a lot of like nostalgia in the MK11 one with where you are unlocking stuff with Shang Tsung's temple. But that was great. And I hope that they continue with the crypt and make it interesting and appealing, and not just MK9's where it's this giant graveyard of tombstones that you just go up to, spend your in-game currency on, unlock different concept art and costumes and stuff like that. That's what I hope. They at least continue to make that an interesting mode for that. I just felt like the MK11 Crypt was a test to do an adventure story mode. Maybe. I think they did in one of the earlier Mortal Kombat something like that. Really hope the story's a conquest mode. I'm not sure what you mean by that. But I've had no issue with what they've done with these past stories, whether it's MKX or the Injustice series. As long as it's interesting and the through line is good, then that's great. Oh, it's from Deception and Deadly Alliance. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, my Mortal Kombat experience is simply 9 through 11. I've played a little bit of 2 in the arcades, but was never great at them. And then, yeah, my only other experience is just watching people play versus mode for through each other, whether it was Ultimate, MK, or whatever. So I don't have any personal experience with that. But, okay, an RPG mode of the fights. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, I'd be down with them playing around with it and giving it a try, as long as, once again, just like any game, as long as it's interesting and fun, it's not like I'm anti against a certain mode, if that makes sense. So going back to characters after this remembering and tangent. So I'm going to pull up the characters I'm hoping for. So I talked about Katana. Not Katana, Jesus. Molina. Molina was a big one in MKX that I really enjoyed using and playing as. I also liked the ninja robots. I think it was Triborg and MKX, so you kind of had a little bit of a fusion between all the robots and their movesets, depending on which one you selected. He was a good character. For talking guest characters for MKX, Jason had one variation, which was a good iteration in the series, was the variations. I think they had it in 11 as well, if I'm not mistaken. Just not as memorable, in my opinion. So Jason had one good one that I was okay with. MK11 had a lot of good characters. I personally didn't play many of them. I think Liu Kang, surprisingly, was the only one I really liked a lot and played a lot of. There just wasn't any characters outside of him that maybe moveset wise I really ever got comfortable with. He was the one that I seemed to engage with the most, pick up on the most on combination stuff like that. I did enjoy Sindel from the time I played her. Some things you could work combo wise there. So yeah, we'll have to see. Noob was always a cool one visually. I know a lot of people played Noob Saibot, so I get that one is a little interesting. Let's see. Baraka needs to come back. Also Devora, but make her a rushdown character like X. They killed her in 11. I hated it. Yeah, Devora's cool. I liked her look in 10 more than I liked in 11. And I also played her more in 10. But yeah, she was a cool character that they added. Looking at the rosters, it's going to be interesting, like we talked about with like the second generation and the robots not being the robots, depending on where we start in this timeline. It's going to be interesting to see where, like, I'm looking here and like there's more characters like, nope, I don't think they're going to be in. Like, we can presume the Elder Gods entirely are not going to be in this unless some Shang Tsung alternate timeline portal thing, whatever, is happening. So no Cetrion. No Garrus, who was a new character in the last one. No Shinnok. Is there anybody else? I think those are the only ones that were playable. Yeah. So we won't see them. It's going to be interesting to see if they bring back certain characters like a Kotal Khan. I thought he was great. To see where he fits into things, or like see him early stages before he became a Kotal. Devora, you mentioned. Cabal before he's burned. Is the Collector going to be around? We just added him into 11, so now we could have him show up more earlier stages of his life. We'll have the original Sub-Zero, we presume, and not the second iteration of Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero. So no Noob Saibot as well, because I believe he was the first or second Sub-Zero. Man, that gets confusing. Is Kano going to have his eyeball ripped out? Who's to say? Who's to say? We'll have to see. As far as PS2 era, I really think Havoc should be in it. Get some Chaos Realm representation. The name sounds familiar. I can't picture him. I wonder if we'll get more animal representation. So we had Goro in MKX. I don't believe he was in 11. We saw his rotting corpse in the interesting. We saw him in the crypt, but will we see? We got Shiva in. Didn't we get Shiva? Yeah, she was Aftermath DLC. Got her in 11. Will we see Kintaro make a return? Will we see Motaro make a return? Get Horseman in there. Like, that will be interesting. Do we get Meat? Do we get him back? Oh my god. I think, let's see. Let's look at the roster of who they've confirmed again. So I feel like there's got to be some quote-unquote safe bets. So we got Liu Kang, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden, Kung Lao, Katana, Melina, Shang Tsung, Johnny Cage, and quote-unquote many others. So right now we got 9 characters confirmed. So who's our safety bets? I assume Sonya's a safety bet. I assume Jax is a safety bet. So there's 2. Do we bring back Shao Kahn? I don't know, because it seems like they're putting Shang as the big bad, which I think was how the initial game started, right? Shang was the bad, and then we got the reveal of Shao Kahn being more prominent. At least that's how it ran in MK9 when we redid the first trilogy. Who knows? I'd like to see Ermac come back. I thought he was cool. Reptile. He could be a safe one. Let's see. Made 10. Did not make 11 because he died? Question mark. I don't know. So that would be interesting. You know what? For shits and giggles, let's look up the Mortal Kombat roster. Like the initial roster. Now I gotta figure out how to do this without telling me or giving me Mortal Kombat 1. The new Mortal Kombat 1, you know? Mortal Kombat first installment, 1992. God damn. Okay, playable characters. Cage, Kano, Liu Kang, Raiden, Scorpion, Sonya, and Sub-Zero. So we talked about Sonya. We talked about I guess I didn't count Kano, but Kano in there. Okay. Reptile was a hidden character. Goro was a sub-boss. Shang Tsung was the boss. And then rumored characters apparently were Ermac and whoever the fuck Nimbus Terrafowl is. Was a gag created by a magazine. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty open to having anybody, if I'm not gonna lie. Baraka is annoying, in my opinion, in terms of moveset, but I'm not against it. And then yeah, it's just a matter of figuring out like who we see from an early standpoint. Like Nightwolf, I would enjoy more Nightwolf. And then guest characters. Do we even want to speculate guest characters and get crazy with it? Is anybody from Dune? that's a Warner thing, right? Oh, some breaking news from Genghis in the chat. MK1 community chat, of course, was spelled with a K, with Ed Boon and Tyler Lansdowne tomorrow, May 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 Central. Okay, well, I wonder what will be said there, but interesting. And more news. We'll have to see. Yeah, just interested. Fighting games live and die by their rosters. So as long as there is enough characters and there's enough interesting characters, I'm down for anybody. Mortal Kombat 10 had 24 playable at launch with 9 additional, and MK11 had 25 at launch with 12 downloadable. So probably get in that similar range of 20 to 25. We'll have to see. Ferritor, yeah. Ferritor deserves some more respect. That was a cool character combination in 10. Yeah, so Devora would be cool to see a return. Ferritor would be cool to see a return. Kenshi was great. Kodokan already shouted out. Takeda was fantastic, but doesn't make sense for the timeline purposes. I like Tremor. In 10. He was another one I used a little bit. Same with Tanya before they redesigned her. Who the hell is Frost? Oh, Frost was the robot Sub-Zero lady. Right. Most broken character. Yeah. Well, I guess so. I don't know. Yeah. We'll have to see. I don't know. I'm very excited for MK1. I hope you guys are too. And yeah, we'll just have to see. We'll have to wait with bated breath to see when this game trailer reveal is. Hopefully it's next week and we don't have to wait too long, but just kind of wanted to come on here, rant and rave about Mortal Kombat, get excited. Looking forward to streaming through at least MKX and 11 again, go through those stories again and have a good time with that. And yeah, tomorrow might get more info as well. Yeah, we'll have to see what Boone and Lansdowne talk about over there. If they're just kind of, what's the term? Sneaky about it, or just kind of like grassroots top stuff, or if they'll shadow drop something as well. We'll have to see. Time will tell. But yeah, NetherRealm, keep crushing it. Keep doing your thing. As long as it's fun, that's what matters. And I guess I'll hold on for Injustice 3. We'll keep waiting for that. But let's move on to topic 2, guys. Let's talk more WWE 2K23 because fuck it, why not? As you guys know, I'm loving my time with the recent 2K games. And recently, as of recording, we just got the DLC Pack 2. So we got the OC, we got Tiffany Stratton, we got, yes boy, we got the Pretty Deadly guys in there added to the roster. We also got some free characters. We got Candice LeRae and Mia Yim making an appearance, technically being used from their last year's game and just brought into this one. But still, got some new content there, got some adjustments, some gameplay stuff. So just kind of want to talk about my updated thoughts about some things. Probably a brief chat. Very, very brief chat. So let's talk about the DLC. I think, DLC, similar to pretty much their... Since 2K has had it, the quality of the DLC in terms of entrances and look of the characters looks great. In terms of this DLC specifically, the OC looks fantastic. Their entrances with AJ or by themselves, very well animated. Same with Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly's got some good animations in there for their entrance. Hair gets a little wacky with that slow motion feature, but not too bad there. In terms of music, though, Tiffany, I would say, is probably the lowest in terms of presence with her character. I know a lot of people were looking forward to Tiffany, and probably for reasons that, that there's a thirsty crowd in the wrestling universe. Just added to the NXT roster, or adding to that NXT roster, making it a little bit more deep and exciting. But her music sucks. They used her old music, the Daddy's Little Rich Girl music, which I get is her character gimmick, or at least was when she initially showed up on 2.0. It is an awful song. I wish they would have used the more recent entrance song. I mean, it's nothing like crazy exciting or anything, but it's just not that. Not that first one that's really annoying. So I would say that's definitely the down point of this DLC. Pretty Deadly's has a small one. They just don't have the Yes Boy at the very beginning of their entrance, which I feel it should be there. But in terms of looks from character models and animations, I will say, very good job. Like most of their post-launch characters, they did fantastic there. Free DLC, also great too. A lot of people were wondering why Mia and Candice didn't make the initial release. I know it's a whole thing with like Triple H becoming in charge, people getting released before that, him signing people back on. But I remember when the initial talks of roster were being discussed or revealed to us, like the timelines didn't match up for certain characters. Like some people made it, some people didn't make it, and like, oh, but so-and-so was released before Mia and Candice, yet they made the game, and you, like, it didn't make sense at all. So I'm glad they not righted that wrong, but they, even though they didn't use new character models, I appreciate that they did that for the players, where they added free content in this latest patch for us with a returning Mia, with a returning Candice, at least adding them back to the game. I know community creations, like what's the status with the hidden files, or just anybody creating the characters, you could have gotten them through there, but it is nice to have a quote-unquote official character model, entrance screens, music with them. It was a nice plus, an unexpected thing, similar to last year's game with the NXT 2.0 arena, that being added for free, along with some other additions to other modes like GM mode, which you guys know I love. Just appreciated. Will they do more in the future? There's hope. Never say never. I would lean a little bit towards the no side of things, just based on the history of 22, where they added free stuff with the first DLC pack. But then after that, it was kind of just like bug fixes and whatnot. I don't know if they'll add any more free content after this initial kind of release gift, whatever you want to call it. I'd love to see a Bronson Reed in the game and added to there. We know he was scanned for 22, was not in 22 because unfortunately he got released. He was initially in the DLC plans. So they do have a scan for him, and he rescanned during Royal Rumble. Granted, that would probably be for the follow-up title. But I don't know. I feel like even if it is an older model, it's not the worst thing in the world. If it's, maybe you could change his attire just a little bit color scheme wise, so he's not I think he was wearing like red, black and red. It was like more of his NXT face attire. You could change that up a little bit, but I know that's additional work. I'd love to see Bronson make it in there. Nikki Cross with a little bit updated to her more sanity gimmick. That might be a little bit more effort because it is changing stuff and more music and whatnot. Who knows? I doubt it will happen, but we'll have to see. Time will tell. In terms of other things that have been updated, whether it was this recent update with DLC 2 or it was the update prior, I will say there are some cosmetic things, at least from a GM standpoint, just because that's the mode I primarily play, that I do appreciate. We do now have a like indicators of rivalries. You get like a golden glow if it's a rivalry match. You also see the title. It's a small thing, but the title actively move from person to person in the match graphic if they do that. We got, I feel like there was some other stuff. Oh, it like will actively show you when rivalries level up, or if it's what level the rivalries are in an active match. That's all good stuff. We are now able to defend titles in multi-man matches. So triple threats, fatal four ways. That is an amazing change. In a recent playthrough that I've been doing a GM mode, my second season, I had a bunch of cruiserweights from the NXT current division. So I had JD McDonough, I had Dragon Lee, I had Axiom, Wesley, Ilya Dragunov. I had all of them kind of like feuding with each other, going through their own stuff, but doing a multi-man match, throwing the North American title in there and just seeing like how it shook up at the end of a pay-per-view to end multiple rivalries or just to kind of get that variety in the show. Excellent thing to add in. And I know it's a big stamina save if you want to get people on your show, but don't want to kill them and burn them out too bad. So that's great and a nice adjustment and change. Something that I wish... Where was I going with this? I feel like there's a mechanic that I noticed that I didn't like. Oh, promos. I don't know if this is just me. Could just be my playthrough. But promos, when you put people in self-promo, it's like hit or miss. It's either they're successful and they get like a 4 to 5 popularity boost, or majority of the time, it's a good promo, yet 0 gain or loss. And it's like, what? I've had it happen so many times with self-promos where there's just nothing. And I feel like in the previous updates, it was more likely that like it was either success or failure. It wasn't this just nothing. Yeah, Zippo popularity gain. Exactly, Popograph. I have no idea why it's like that. It's the most frustrating thing ever. Because it's like, it says it was good. What do you mean 0? So, while that sucks, I will say, and granted this may be because of Popograph and a little tip he gave me, looking into match reports, I'm doing much better in terms of getting popularity of my superstars. I feel like I've had a lot of hundreds or a lot of high 90s in this recent playthrough, and maybe it's just me looking at the numbers a little bit more and being like, oh, they went up, oh, they went down, oh, blah, 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 blah. Whatever it is, it seems like it's working, the booking's working, and it's successful there. In terms of roster, and this was something that I might have brought up last time. Roster, I feel, needs to be more random. I understand if season to season you see a lot of the same faces in the free agent pool. That's fine. Maybe I'm trying to pick up a tag team, Jimmy and Jey Uso. Didn't draft them in the normal draft. I see Jay one week. Eventually, maybe, getting a Jimmy also in there to complete a tag team. Totally get that. Totally fine. If you had similar faces pop up every once in a while in your free agent pool. It doesn't happen enough, in my opinion. If you are expecting a player to go through a 10-season game, granted if you do the whole thing and take forever, and not get the trophies before that, there has to be some kind of shakeup and mixture of your roster. Granted, I am playing with a customized roster. The current roster I'm playing with is like the most up-to-date WWE roster as of recording. So I have a lot of, the NXT talent who's down there. I've moved people who were in NXT in the recent draft up to the active superstars. I've moved the free agent superstars down to local. I've added certain people to legends like Pat McAfee or John Cena, who doesn't show up all the time, or Brock Lesnar, who's like a special talent. I've modified some stuff there. But even with the base roster, where you have the 50 local yokels, you know, your Flint McStones, your, Cindy Fluff and Cardiac or whatever the one guy's name is, I don't know. Flint McDougal, you know, these people. You're supposed to have like 30 to 50 of them. I don't know. They yell at you if it gets too low. And I feel like those people get rotated out more, in my opinion, than my custom roster of all my locals are community creations, but they're real people, like your Brooks Jensen, your Josh Briggs, your Thea Hale, your Duke Hudson, like people that aren't going to be in the game in DLC later, but you know, I've swapped those names out with people who are actually in the company that I care about, kind of deal. And I don't feel like it gets shuffled enough. Once again, I could understand season 1, you have this pool. Once you get to subsequent seasons or later seasons, I feel like there has to be more randomness that 2K needs to do with this. And I feel like it happened in 2K22 as well. But there's games you'll never see people, ever. I understand it's a big roster. I understand there's a lot of people where just maybe one week they were there and the next week they're not. I feel like there has to be more randomness and variety in terms of that. I get for the draft at the end of the year, I get they want to put everybody or most everybody back in the rosters that were drafted previously, whether it was SmackDown, Raw, WCW, whatever shows. You want to put them back in there. Their popularity's higher. Their price is astronomical. So you can redraft the people you want to if you didn't get to select them, or maybe they swap to a different show. I get that. I think there needs to be a little bit more, whether it's that initial draft and or the free agent pool. Try and mix it up a little bit more. Get a little bit more variety in there. It just makes it more exciting to me as a player instead of just kind of just coasting. And I feel like that's something that's lacking a little bit this year in the GM mode is difficulty. Papa Griff and I have talked about this off stream a little bit. Once you get past that first season hump, it's kind of like a cakewalk from there. Now, granted, I haven't messed personally with different difficulties. I'm still playing on normal. I haven't made it all the way through a quote-unquote completed gameplay or game series yet, just because I get bored of the roster and I want to make a whole new one. So I haven't made it to the Hall of Fame, finished that, and then gone to a hard difficulty, which is what I want to try and do. Like, oh, I want to be down this, then I'll go up there. So granted, maybe that experience will be a little bit different. But for me, it seems like it's always the first 3 months. The CPU will be leading in fans. Something will happen, and either pay-per-view bonus or special promotion, I'll surpass them. And whether I surpass them in fans at that point or I don't and I get Hall of Fame trophies, once I surpass them at that point, it's a breeze. Never have a problem. Fans eventually catch up if they're not already, and then trophies just roll in because the CPU doesn't focus on that. I get what they were trying to do this year with the Hall of Fame progress, try and give you some more interesting objectives for the power cards and create a new mechanic into the gameplay. The CPU, at least from my gameplay experience, doesn't focus on that. And once, even from a human-to-human multiplayer game, like that's the focus 100%. Your fans could be ass, but if you're getting those Hall of Fame trophies, that's all that matters. Money doesn't matter. Fans don't matter. It only matters in terms of a tie. If you have 2 trophies, I have 2 trophies, then the fans come into play. That's the secondary win condition. But yeah, it just doesn't seem like the computer deals with those things or even focuses on those things. They bring in characters, they run them ragged, and then they release them. I can't tell you how many times I've been like, oh, there's your champion 1 week in that little end screen. Then I look in free agents, there's their fucking champion. Like, what? And they have to start over from fresh. And it's just a little saddening, I guess. Like, I don't want it to be uber brutal like the old, SmackDown versus Raw 06 to 08 GM mode. But I feel like last year's was a little bit more competitive. And I mean, I played it numerous times on stream, and I can't tell you how many times it came down to that final WrestleMania show of like, this is make or break. It's either win or lose, and it's gone both ways. This one, I don't feel that way when playing. It's just, yeah, you hit the popularity, you get the big arenas, ching, you're good to go. I don't know. Maybe they tried to alternate too much. I appreciate what they have added. I appreciate the things they tried to do. It's just unfortunate where it doesn't balance out. I don't know if they'll work on it or tweak on it anymore this year. The first patch had decent changes. Like I said, the multi-man title matches. The second patch doesn't really seem to be anything. So it seemed to be just more tweaks in terms of performance. So I don't know. Last year's had the fan cap of 3 million. This one stays at 99 retention the whole time. Yeah, that was a miscalculation. At least last year's, once you got to like 3, 6, 9 months, that retention would dip a little bit. Yeah, that's weird that it just stays the 99 the whole time. Maybe it's just something they missed in calculations. I'm not sure, but that is odd. So yeah, GM mode just not unfortunately hitting the highs I wanted it to. Now, granted, this is my CPU to CPU experience. Player to player, still having a blast with that. Need to actually get back on that and get back in that session. But just some things that I'd like to change and have a little bit more, make it more interesting, I guess, as a mode from there. Last thing that I'll complain about, talk about, and everybody talks about it, so, I'll be brief on it. My faction. I think as of recording tomorrow, they're going to be releasing a My Faction pack called Face Paint Frenzy or Face Paint Warriors or something like that. This is going to be the first packs, to my knowledge, that are going to involve alternate attires for superstars already in the game. So they're going to be adding a Asuka with her Kana makeup based on the Royal Rumble of this past year. Cool, they're adding it. But if you unlock it via real world money or your in-game currency, you only get that attire in the My Faction mode. Same exact thing as last year. This sucks. I don't like it. I appreciate they're adding content. I appreciate that they're adding attires. It just sucks that it is locked into that mode. I wish they would change it where if you unlock it in My Faction, you can use it wherever you want. Exhibition, create a superstar, whatever the fuck you want, universe, that's it. Everybody says it. I wish they would do it. I understand different games do similar things, like Overwatch. You can only get skins through the loot boxes, and at least Overwatch 1, you get skin through the loot boxes, but then you could use that skin in any game mode, arcade mode, versus ranked, competitive, whatever the fuck. You could use it because it was yours. I understand it was a random chance. I understand it could still have the real world money applied to it. You could do the same thing here. God knows it's fucking annoying to grind and play out those matches to get the in-game currency, which seems harder this year than last year's, to get the packs, to go from there, which are also priced astronomically. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe just I've tried My Faction. I played a little bit more last year than this year. It's just not fun. And granted, it could be me using the same superstars over and over again. It's either that or it's that dumb 4v4 mode. The worst thing ever. That burned out for me. Because if it was elimination style or something where it was how Super Smash Bros., the recent one, had that mode where you could pick 5 fighters, and then you like selected what order your fighters would come in, and you have to eliminate the other players' fighters completely, their roster, and it was like last man standing. If it was something like that, where like 4v4, I pick 4 superstars, the CPU has 4 superstars, and it's 1v1 fights until the other team is eliminated, I'd be more down with that. I get it takes a longer time, but it's super annoying when you got 3 people on the apron, and if you want to pin or submit them, you got to knock down the guys on the apron before you can even attempt the freaking pin. And of course, that's the game mode where you get the most currency and rewards after each win. It's like, fuck. But anyways, yeah, just my faction, I know, everybody says it. It stinks. It could be fun. It could be good. It's just, it's not. It's too much of a slog and grind at times. And yeah, there's no incentive to play it if you don't get anything out of it. Like, GM mode's a little different because, well, I guess both of them are encompassed game modes, but I don't know. You don't unlock anything from my GM mode. You're just doing that because you enjoy it. And if they want to invest in the My Faction route, they have to make it fun. And I feel like giving incentive to unlock certain things in My Faction to use wherever would entice players to play that mode more. It's similar to the story mode. Like, I still haven't played the story mode, but I know that's how you unlock Ezekiel, Molly Holly, Mighty Molly, old Triple H where he was, high and mighty John Triple H Claude Van Damme. I don't remember what it was, and certain arenas and all that stuff. Like, I know that's how you can unlock it, and that's where it's enticing initially, and then hopefully the fun takes over and it's actually a good mode. And My Faction just doesn't have that right now. It's just like, okay, here you are. Hopefully you get the things you want to get, or you're going to get repeat cards and we're not going to give you really a whole lot of currency for it. It's like, well, thanks. Thanks for my random shit that I already had. At least you could have gave me new stuff, but you decided not to. To close out this topic, question on that. If you know, what happens if you had a community creation Candace and then got her via DLC? Do they crash into each other, or does it resolve itself internally? I snagged a creative character for Chelsea and Emma today. We'll do also for Bronson and Tegan. So that's a good question. Also, good characters that you are downloading. So it will not interfere with your downloadable content. So right now I have 2 Candice LeRays and I have 2 Mia Yims. Mia Yim that is legit official is Michin Mia Yim, and then Candice is just Candice LeRae. You'll be able to tell which one's legit because they both look like their character models from last year in terms of photos, and their overalls, at least from the community creations that I downloaded, the overalls of the legit superstars are lower than those ones. You're not going to be able to delete the real ones, so it's not like a problem with that, but you'll have both will still be on your roster. It's not going to cause any issues, crashes, anything like that. Similar to any superstar, like on community creations, you can upload different costumes or attires that you created for superstars. So for example, I shout out What's the Status. He has a Asuka skin from the 2023 Rumble. Granted, that could have been in the hidden files, so it could be the My Faction model. I don't know. I think it is. I can set that as an alternate attire, which I have, or you could keep it its own custom created superstar. Totally fine. So they won't interfere with each other. I can't delete those community creations from my roster or my game specifically right now, just because they are being used in a roster in my GM. So I'm going to wrap up that gameplay, and then I'll be able to freely delete them off of there and go about my way. But no, you won't have any problems with them interfering with anybody they do add down the line, or those guys that you added for free. But yeah, just wanted to chat a little bit more about 2K. It's fun. I still play it. I just wish it was better. A little bit of a down point after launch, 2 months ago at this point. Something like that, maybe a little longer. Just want things to be better. Want things to be fun. And obviously, it's growing pains. Things will happen. Feedback. They seem open to it. Will they listen to me? Probably not. They shouldn't. But this has been another episode of The Wait Where We Talk About Podcast, guys. Hope you guys had a good time today. Thanks for chilling and hanging out with me. My name is Bret, a.k.a. Enigma9011. If you guys want to catch this podcast live, you can always go over to twitch.tv/Enigma9011. Drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live with either the podcast or the streams, and you can join in on the chaos and the conversation today like Papa Griff, Genghis Swandive, and Jeff Reg did today. But if you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support the show, likes, shares, reviews, all that fun stuff. It may seem small, but it does help the channel grow. Helps us out in a big way. So if you have the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Thank you guys for hanging out today for all the fun Mortal Kombat and wrestling talk. Hope you guys had a good time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And we will see you guys on the next one. Take care.